Everyone seems to be really enjoying Despicable Deadpool, and I'm going to try to Costanza it, leave on the high note before it gets bad.
Infinity Wars, Infinity Countdown, what's the difference? Define this for me.
I was asked to write Guardians of the Galaxy, and I went away and I worked on this big story, and Marvel said, we're gonna blow that up, and I was super excited that I got to do what I want. So Guardians of the Galaxy was Act 1 of the story. Act 2 was Infinity Countdown, and it's all leading to Infinity Wars. And so it's gonna be a hell of a fall. Mike Deodato Jr. is just drawing the hell out of it.
Is the Power Stone the MacGuffin of the piece?
They're all like, you know,
are they all involved?
Well, they're all in play. They're magic rocks. They're MacGuffins. They're you know, like to a certain extent dumb rocks. I managed to pass one from Logan, from Wolverine to Black Widow through the toilet tank, and I felt like that's not something you're likely to see anytime soon in the movies. So I felt like I was on the right path. But they are. You know, they're MacGuffins for me to, you know, get to some new places with these characters.
What kind of ramifications are going to come from the Countdown and then Infinity Wars?
I am telling a family story. It is a cosmic story, but I'm going to tell a story about the Guardians of the Galaxy and Gamora as Thanos' daughter.
You're also bringing back Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock is back. It's so much fun.
It's been a while, right?
It's been a long time. He went into his cocoon. If you don't know Adam Warlock, he's a guy who is a child of science. He had 4 scientist parents, and he's like the perfect son of man. And I've set him against Ultron as sort of the apple, the rotten apple that fell off the tree and went in another direction. And they're going to war for the stone as the Guardians are fighting. And the stones are different, and no one really knows why. The Power Stone is 40 feet tall. Our reality stone was in a different reality, and you know, there's a reason for that, and we'll come to understand why things are different.
It's great to see Adam Warlock back in this because he's really been the linchpin
Totally.
of the cosmic universe in Marvel since the beginning because of Jim Starlin, so it's great to see him come back.
It's so much fun, and I figured out a way to look at Adam through the same lens. He's the same character, and then just see things a little bit differently. He actually gifts his ability to create a regenerative cocoon in an upcoming issue of Countdown that I'm really excited about. I'm sincerely great to leave before the pitchforks and torches come for me. I've had
before the fans turn on you, right?
Before they turn on me right now, everyone seems to be really enjoying Despicable Deadpool, and I'm going to try to Costanza it, leave on the high note before it gets bad. I've had a wonderful time, the best collaborators. I will leave, I guess, with about 125 issues of Deadpool under my belt, and I sincerely think 300 is our funniest and most screwed up issue.
So funny and screwed up, it's triple-sized, correct?
It is triple-sized, so Scott KOBLISH gets 20 pages, Matteo Lally gets 20 pages, Mike Hawthorne gets 20 pages. These guys have been the backbone of the book for so long. It's our big goodbye, and as bittersweet as it is, no one is going to miss me. I know what Scotty Young and Nick Klein are doing after, and it is so much fun. I can't wait to return to Deadpool as a fan and a reader.
The cherry on the icing on that cake is the cover to 300. Aren't you guys doing something world record setting?
Yes, so Deadpool 250, Scott KOBLISH volunteered to put 250 characters on a cover, and no one said no to him. And so for 300, he said, how about I do 300 Deadpools? And we were like, how about we commit you to a mental institution
Scott is
instead?
clearly insane.
He's an insane man, but a wonderfully insane man. And so most of these Deadpools actually are from the publishing plan. Like, they actually have appeared in other places. A few of them are new for the cover, but
Dazzler Deadpool?
Yeah, Dazzlepool. Poozler.
That doesn't even make any sense, but it's still funny.
It's a guy who can light up the room with cancer. Yeah,
Oh my God.
When the music comes on, everyone gets cancer.
That's horrible, but still funny, and that's the great thing about the character.
Yeah,
is that
he's so
Despicable
malleable, right?
Deadpool allows for such a wide berth. I would imagine, though, writing funny superhero comics is really tough.
It is. You know what? I'm very lucky in that I will write a script for the editor, and I just try to have fun. And if the editor has fun and approves it, I hope the artist will have fun. And then after the art comes back, I do another pass. So, you know, things are inevitably a little different, but there's a really fun back and forth. Something will get drawn, a gag that I didn't see before, or that shows up to surprise me, and then I'll get a chance to beat the joke. So it's a little like TV writing on the way to the printer. You know, we print on Fridays, so oftentimes Thursday night I'm looking at a PDF, just trying to, you know, caption contest, beat the joke.
You have a brand new creator-owned book, Analog. It's being put out by Image Comics. Just read the first issue. Great concept. 5 years in the near future, and the entire planet has been doxxed.
Yeah.
How long have you had that idea kicking around your head?
You know, it's so funny. We started, David O'Sullivan and I, the artist on the book, we started collaborating in 2015, where it felt a little bit more out in left field, and you know, we wanted to get a bunch of issues in the can, and then I said to David after the election, I said, hey, we should probably step on the gas and try and get this out there before everyone is doxxed. You know, after the Cambridge Analytica scandal with Facebook, you know, I think people are pivoting to an analog life a little bit more, and realizing that if we're not paying for a product, that we are the product. And selfishly as a writer, though, I'm just trying to have fun with a hard-edged, a hard-drinking human punching bag who is an armed courier for secrets, and get rid of cell phones. So if you're doing that as a writer, you're doing your story a favor. So it is, it's some big ideas, but I'm hopefully trying to keep it fun, but it's feeling pretty of the moment. And
well, it's incredibly timely, because information hijacking and manipulation is all over the news.
Yeah.
Now you even allude to Russia in there.
Yep.
So that was very prescient. But it's something that's on people's minds right now. Do you worry that having your story closely linked to something like that could turn off some people, or do you just not
you
bother
know,
with that?
I don't know. It's a great question, because you know, I've just tried to be myself at all times. I don't write much politics into Marvel stuff. I don't write any politics into any Marvel work. But Analog is a little political, but we're leaping over this political situation that we're in, and we're just sort of landing in a mess, and that's what I like about it. Whatever you think happened, I don't really take an overt political position in it, except that I do think that you know, we have voluntarily subjugated ourselves to a lot of propaganda, and on the other side, I actually have hope, though, that things can be better. So even though Analog seems like it's such a heavy bummer, that actually you'll see, I hope, that it actually looks better than our world in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I didn't get a downer vibe from it at all.
Okay.
And it's funny you mention how you know, the mood of it is, because Jack is very laconic and very dry wit, and he gives it this weird, humorous undertone to it. He reminds me of Mike Hammer.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That, I mean, like, I love...
Although he drinks a lot more than I remember Mike Hammer drinking on the Stacey Keach show.
Yeah.
Kids, Google him. But what I liked about Jack is he's already of this other world, very crime noir, very old school. He's really enjoying the being unplugged part of the story.
Yeah, I think so.
He almost seems like a relief, and obviously there's a big twist that involves him in the story that we won't reveal here. That was a nice way of involving him in it. But
yeah, I appreciate that. He's, you know, he has he's a little bit of a burdened soul in a good way, but he has retained his sense of humor. I try to put a little bit of humor into anything. I think funny and sad is my sweet and sour. So I try to have that in the
St.
stuff
Louis.
that I do.
Why do you crap all over St. Louis
You know
in
what?
this first issue?
That line wasn't there until the end, where I said, you know what, I really want to open with. So the first line is seems like it's at St. Louis. It is at St. Louis's expense. But you know,
a cheap shot.
It was a cheap shot.
Jack does not like St. Louis.
But Jack doesn't like St. Louis for good reasons. Every time he goes there, someone tries to kill him.
Fair enough. But Jason Aaron's probably going to talk to you about that. That's his neck of the woods.
I'm going to hear it from him.
Alan Oppenheimer is kind of a very central character in it. It's kind of hard not to see Mark Zuckerberg.
It really is. You know, it was always intended as a tech overlord. You know, I feel like it's funny, as Silicon Valley just even becomes overpopulated with, like, there's kind of high-priced hobos. Like it's like a fiefdom now. Like people are living in the parking lots at their. So it really does feel like there's a castle now. And I did, yeah, sure. You know, I thought also Oppenheimer.
House in the book.
Oh, it's crazy.
The artist, his name escapes me.
David O'Sullivan.
David O'Sullivan does a magnificent job designing his house because that looks like what a high-tech billionaire D-bag would live in.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I went to the wrong pool. There's a line in the story, and it's great.
Yeah.
Because he's got multiple pools.
He's got, who is...
on a cliff.
On a cliff. Yeah, my first infinity pool. Yeah, it's you know, it's tough
Good
because
crossover.
Yeah, it's tough because, you know, I want to always think the best in people. You know, we want to think that everyone has our best intentions, and that isn't always the case. And with the character of Oppenheimer, yeah, he very much is that guy who is a you know, who has the keys to the kingdom. You know, he's the architect in the Matrix, and we look at him and what if he isn't altruistic? And so I thought my least subtle bit of work was naming him Oppenheimer for a guy that, you know, invented the bomb. You know, but I am so sincerely glad that you dug it and that people have found their way. It's been a couple of years since I did any creator-owned stuff, and it feels fun to have it out now. So.
Is it a finite story, or is it something you want to consider doing as an ongoing?
No, I think this is an ongoing. You know, I talked to David. I have an end in mind that I talked about with him, and we could always move it up. But in success, I really hope that we get 3 or 4 trades out.
I'm always interested in finding out who made creators comic fans. Who are some of the creators that you followed as a young fan that really made an impact on you?
It's such a great question. For me, I bugged Walter and Wheezy Simonson. Walt was doing a classic run on Thor. When I started bugging him when I was in 7th grade, how do you say Thor's hammer's name? He'd say, oh, well, I say Mjolnir. And we just continued to bug him, and we followed him show to show.
Did you used to think it was Mjolnir?
Of course, I would say
Me too.
Mjolnir. You know, when we literally were like exchanging like, you know, $5 to go, like we were gambling on what he'd say. But it was so cool because he left it open about
Gambling is bad, kids.
Gambling is bad, don't do it. But like, you know, he'd go, well, I say Mjolnir. He didn't say this is how you say it. But the coolest thing he did, and the thing that he did that changed my life, we were talking about how to make comics, and he goes, I know what to do. And he reached into his bag and he took out his thumbnail sketches for his Fantastic Four issue that had just come out. He had just signed it for us, and he goes, this is the first time I drew this page of the rough drawings of Thor. Suddenly it was like a spell that you could put on it that exploded the issue to go, oh yeah, they don't just, finished pages don't fall out of the pen. There's got to be a plan, there's a flow, there's changes, mistakes. And he did that for me, and he gave us each a thumbnail page, and he doesn't give away his art.
No, he doesn't sell his art.
Sell his art. And so I still have that page tucked into that issue of Fantastic Four, and it changed my life. And so I talk to kids, I go into libraries, I go into schools, even though I look like Krusty the Clown. I'm like, hey kids, like, let's talk comics. You know, but like I show them thumbnails, and I asked Chris Samney if I could show his thumbnails to these kids for a Guardians issue we did, because they're so clean and it's so easy to understand how you could lay out 20 pages, and I can see the wheels turning. You know, you just need a little bit of process. You need a peek behind the curtain just a bit, and Walter did that for me, and if I could do that for someone else and to pay that forward, I just love comics so much that, you know, I want a new generation to not just read comics, but make comics and love comics.
That's an amazing story. And Walt and Weezy are like 2 of the best people ever.
They're the nicest people in the world, right?
First, I'm very envious that you have the thumbnail sketches, by the way.
I know.
I'm still thinking about that.
It's a family heirloom. Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
I'd love to see it. Tell me 3 comics that are on Gerry Duggan's pull list.
Deadly Class is wonderful. That book is great. Southern Bastards is a comic that.
You're just saying that because you pissed off Jason Aaron by bashing St. Louis.
I know. I'm making up for it now. Now he's got to
Great
come
series.
around. Yeah, that one's great. And I love Injection from Declan Jordy and of course Warren Ellis. So those are comics. You know, you only gave me 3. I could have kept going.